Welcome to Biblical Greek. In today's lesson, we're going to focus on second declension neuter nouns. Now, think back for a moment. We covered second declension masculine nouns. Now, this is sort of confusing to people who have never studied Greek when they come to the Greek textbooks, elementary textbook, fundamental textbooks. They always struggle. Why does Greek begin, or Koine Greek begin, with the second declension and not the first? Because the second declension masculine nouns are the most popular. Okay? So second declension, yes, there is masculine and there is feminine, there is neuter, but mostly it's masculine. Some neuter. So you would find close to about 590 some masculine second declension nouns and about 190 some second declension neuter nouns and a few second declension feminine nouns, and there are also some irregular second declension nouns that I will also cover in these lessons. So I know it's so much to take in. So don't get discouraged and don't get overwhelmed. We begin with second declension because it is the most popular one. And in the second declension, we focus on the masculine ones a lot more because they are the most of the second declensions. I hope that makes sense. First declension is not as important as second declension, and in the second declension, masculine is more important than neuter and definitely more important than feminine nouns. So hopefully you can keep those things straight. But let's begin. Let's begin by reviewing the paradigm for second declension masculine nouns first. And then we're going to jump over and spend more time on second declension neuter nouns. So let's begin. Let's lay out our table. This is second declension, masculine. How does it go? Of course, we have singular and plural up on top. Divide the chart. Remember, this is nouns we're talking about. And so if that is the case, then let's begin with nominative, vocative, accusative, genitive, and last of all, dative. Very quickly, and again, I don't want to reteach the previous lessons on grammar when we dealt with cases, but nominative case, we're talking about the subject. Vocative case, an address or an entreaty, like please come, or telling someone to. Accusative, object. Genitive, of something, as in possessive. And dative, to or for whatever that noun is. To or for whatever that noun is. And that depends on the context. So how are the endings of second declension masculine nouns? Let's again take our word logos. We know what logos means. It means word. So how is the declension? Logos, for singular. Logoi. Loge is vocative. Logoi again is vocative, but this time plural. You say, well, how do I know when it's nominative versus when it's vocative? Well, or vocative plural. Nominative plural or vocative. How do I know that? You know it by the context. So if the sentence is something like words are important, of course, that's it. But if it's something like, oh, words, comma, you are so important. This. So context will help you determine why words that are exactly the same are different in their usage within that sentence. So let's continue. Logos, logoi, loge, logoi. What's next? Logon. Logus. So that's direct object. But let's keep going. Logu, of words. Okay. Of words, plural. Remember, this is under the plural. And then finally, dative. With the iota subscript. And as we know, we covered this in the video on the iota subscript, that I sound is silent. So, logo. Logois. So there you have word, words. Oh, word, oh, words. Word, words. Again, depends on how it's functioning in the sentence. Nominative would be the subject. Accusative, direct object. Of word, of words. To or for the word, or to or for the words. So there you have the paradigm for second declension, masculine with the os ending. But now, under the same second declension, let's focus on the neuter nouns. Again, keep in mind, in English, we have now based on, the gender is based on whether the sex is male, female, or neuter. Not so in Greek. In Greek, it varies. And so we're going to look at some words now that will sort of surprise you as to why in the world are they neuter. So let's look at the first. First, let's look at the paradigm. Okay? Let's look at the paradigm for second declension neuter nouns. Here we go. Let me also change this right here. We're not talking about masculine, we're talking about neuter noun. So let's draw up our chart. Of course, everything is about the same. Singular, plural, nominative, vocative. And I know I'm putting it a little different than what Dr. Black does in his book, but that's fine. It's for a reason, and I don't think he would be upset with me about that. But we're doing it a tad bit differently than how he has it. Vocative, accusative, genitive, and finally, dative. How does it work when the nouns are neuter second declension? So let's think about the word ergon. Ergon means work. How would we write it in this paradigm? Ergon. Erga. Work, works. As in subject. How about the vocative? Exactly the same as the nominative singular. Same thing again in the vocative plural. That's interesting. But hold on. exactly the same in the accusative singular and in the plural. Ergon, erga, ergon, erga, ergon, erga. It depends on the context where you can tell whether this is nominative singular or nominative vocative singular or accusative singular, or is it nominative plural or vocative plural or accusative plural. It all depends on the context. Okay? And trust me when I say it's not as confusing the more you get into the words and the Greek sentences, because when you look at the context, it does make sense. So, we're not done. Let's look at the genitive and the dative. How does it go? Ergu, ergon, and finally, ergo, ergois. So, let's translate them. Work, works. O work, O works. Work, works. Of the work or of the works. To or for the work. To or for works. So, while in the second declension masculine, you had os oi, e oi, on us, u on, o ois. In the second declension neuter, it is on a, u on, o ois. And this is something you have to memorize, okay? I wish there was another way to do this. You have to memorize. And the more you copy this paradigm, and what you're doing is you're not writing ergon, you're simply copying this, okay? And so the way I would memorize these paradigms, I will erase it and show it to you, is I would just write the endings and copy that paradigm 30 times. And remember in my mind, this is second declension, neuter. Second declension, neuter. For example, Dr. Black uses the word dora. Dora is gift. Gift. So doron is gift. So think about doron, dora. Doron, dora. Doron, dora. Doru, doron. Doro, dorois. So gift, 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 gifts. Gift, gifts. Of the gift. Of the gifts. To or for the gift. To or for the gifts. So how should you write this paradigm repeatedly to memorize it? The way I did it was I ignored the stem and just focused on the endings. So for the second declension masculine noun ending in os, I would do singular plural, nominative, vocative, accusative, genitive, dative, os oi, e oi, on us, u on, o ois. But how about for second declension neuter? We just looked at it with the word ergon, but let's write it again without the stem. So here it is. Nominative, vocative, accusative, genitive, dative, simply on a, on a, on a, u, on, o, ois. Write it. Copy this again and again. Set a goal that on one day you'll do it 20 times. The next day you'll do it another 20 times. And say it as you're writing it down. Memorize it. Ona, 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 u on, o ois. Ona, 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 u on, o ois. Again and again. And after a while, you'll remember it, and you'll recognize those endings as we begin to translate, as we begin to read the Greek New Testament. So, in this lesson, we focused on the second declension neuter. Okay? Second declension has masculine. That's the majority of the nouns, close to 600 some. It has neuter, the second most popular one under the second declension, close to about 200. And then you do have second declension feminine noun, for example, hodos. Hodos, even though it is under second declension, it is actually a feminine noun. We're not going to cover that now, but just to mention that there are certain such exceptions to the rule, and they are feminine second declension nouns.